Sorry friends, I had a camera error, so we'll be finishing chapter 17 in a separate video. The priest stares at Hirsch for a few seconds without blinking, asking a question without being... Oh, sorry, I read that. The capos stand in front of their huts and start to yell out the numbers of the people who will be transferred the next day. There's bewildered muttering. People don't know whether or not to be happy about leaving Auschwitz. The same question is asked again and again. Where are they taking us? But there's no response. Or there are so many different replies that none of them is any use. Everyone has heard of this special treatment after 6 months. What will it be? Dita has been chatting with Margit, trying to come up with an answer in the midst of so many questions. As members of the December transport, they aren't going anywhere yet. Mentally exhausted with so much speculation, Dita makes her way back to her hut. She is so distressed at the news that she doesn't carry out her usual precautions of checking behind her and walking right beside the huts in case she has to rush inside one of them. She hears a German voice and feels a hand on her arm. Dita! She jumps. It's Freddie Hirsch returning to his hut. There's a feverish glint in his dark eyes, and Dita can see that he's back to being his usual energetic and irresistible self. What are we going to do? Keep going. This is a labyrinth in which you might get lost, but retracing your steps is worse. Don't pay attention to anyone. Listen to the voice inside your own head and keep going forward. But where are they taking you? We'll be going to work somewhere else, but that's not what matters. What is important is that there's a mission to complete here. Block 31. We have to finish what we started. We'll carry on with the school. That's it. But there's another important thing still to do. Dita looks at him with a puzzled expression. Listen to me. Not everything is as it seems in Auschwitz. But there'll come a moment when a small gap will open up for the truth. You'll see. The Germans believe that lying favors them, but we'll score a goal at the last second because they'll be overconfident. They think we're broken, but we aren't. He becomes thoughtful as he's speaking. I can't be here to help you win the game, but you must have faith, Dita. Really believe. Everything will work out well, you'll see. Trust Miriam, and above all else, he looks into her eyes while giving her his most seductive smile. You must never give up. Never. He smiles enigmatically and walks off with his athletic stride while Dita stands there quietly, not entirely sure what he meant by scoring a goal in the last second. It's a night of little sleep in the huts, with rumors whispered among the bunks, along with more or less absurd theories and prayers. What does it matter where they take us? We can't go to a worse place, some protest. It's a comfort amid the distress. The oversized woman who shares her bunk with Dita is part of the September transport, so she'll be one of the transferees. She says little apart from the rude jokes she shares with her neighbors. She never says anything to Dita, good or bad. Dita says good night to her when she lies down next to her feet, as she always does, and as always the woman doesn't answer. Not even the noise she usually mutters by way of reply. She pretends to be asleep, but her eyes are shut too tightly for that. Even the toughest of the tough can't fall asleep during this long night that could be her last. The day dawns cloudy and cold. The wind gusts bring snowflakes with them, pretty much like any other day. There's some confusion when it comes to lining up since the usual order has changed. The September people are on one side, and the December ones on the other. The capos are fully employed in forming the groups, and the SS guards are more nervous than usual, too. They even let loose with an occasional blow from a rifle butt, a rare occurrence during morning roll calls. The atmosphere is tense and faces are long. Roll call is exasperatingly slow, as the capo assistants mark the list. After so many hours standing on her feet, Dita has the feeling that she's slowly sinking into the mud, and that if the roll call takes much longer, she'll end up being swallowed whole. Finally, almost 3 hours after roll call began, the nearly 4,000 people who make up the September group begin to move. For now their destination is the quarantine camp next to the family camp, and they drag their weary feet in that direction. Rudy Rosenberg, the registrar, stands in the quarantine camp, his face serious as he watches all the activity attentively, as if, in the posture and gesticulations of the guards, there might be some clue that will reveal the fate of these people, among whom is his Alice. Dita and her mother stand watching in silence along with all the others from their transport. They remain in their lines at the entrance to their huts, while the guards lead the September veterans toward the exit of Camp B2B in an orderly manner. The procession is not at all festive, although some of the inmates smile, convinced there's a better place waiting for them. Some heads turn for a last farewell, hands waving in both groups, those who are staying and those who are going. Dita grabs her mother's hand and squeezes it firmly. She doesn't know if the sharp feeling in her stomach is due to the cold or fear for those who are leaving. She sees mischievous Gabriel marching past, laughing loudly. He's deliberately walking out of step to trip up a slender girl who's walking behind him and cursing. An adult hand stretches out from even farther back and pulls Gabriel's ear hard. Mrs. Kriskova is so good at handing out punishment that she can do it without losing a step. Acquaintances and teachers from Block 31 walk past Dita on their way to the quarantine camp, along with many faces she's never noticed before. Most of them are gaunt and grave. Some of them greet the children from the December transport who are staying behind and who wave back to them tirelessly, entertained by an event which breaks up the monotonous camp routine. Professor Morgenstern walks past in his patched jacket and broken glasses, dispensing his ridiculous little bows. When he reaches Dita, without stopping or breaking step, so as not to annoy those behind him, he suddenly becomes serious and gives her a wink. And he continues on his way and goes back to performing his bowing routine with that crazy old man laugh of his. It was only a matter of seconds, but as she was looking at him, Dita saw the professor's expression change, and his face was different, as if just for a moment he'd raised his mask and allowed her to see his real self. It wasn't the faraway look of a crazy old man, but the composed expression of a completely serene person. And then Dita is left in no doubt. "Professor Morgenstern!" She throws him a kiss, and he turns to thank her with a clumsy bow that makes the children laugh. He bows to them, too. He's an actor leaving the stage at the end of the show and bidding farewell to his audience. She would have liked to give him a hug and tell him that she knows now, in fact, as she has always known, that he's not mad. If they lock you up in a lunatic asylum, the worst thing that can happen to you is that you are sane. His fake absent-mindedness, at just the right moment during the inspection of the priest and Mengele, saved her. He probably saved her life, hers and everyone else's. She knows that now. It's just as Freddie said, not everything is as it seems to be. She would have liked to give the professor a big farewell kiss, but she won't be able to. Morgenstern, still playing the fool, is moving off, swallowed up in the departing crowd. Good luck, Professor. A troop of women goes by. One of them, one of the few who isn't wearing a scarf on her head, contravenes the strict orders and, stepping firmly out of line, walks toward her. At first, Dita doesn't recognize the woman, but it's her oversized bunkmate. Her loose, tangled hair is covering up the scar that splits her face. She plants herself directly in front of Dita with her toad-like eyes, and they briefly look at each other face to face. "My name's Lida," she says in her gravelly voice. The capo gallops up, starts to yell at her to return to her group immediately, and waves her club menacingly. As the woman hurriedly rejoins her group, she looks back momentarily, and Dita waves goodbye to her. "Good luck, Lida. I love your name," she shouts. She thinks her bunkmate smiles proudly. One of the last people to walk past those waving goodbye is Freddie Hirsch. He's wearing his jacket, and his silver whistle swings slightly on top of it. He walks with martial precision, head high and eyes fixed firmly in front of him, focused on his own thoughts and paying no attention to any of the waves or farewells, even those who call his name. His state of mind and the doubts that torment him are not important. It's a new exodus of the Jews, now expelled from their own prison, and they must face it with the utmost dignity. There can be no sign of frailty or weakness. That's why he doesn't respond to any greeting or wave, though his attitude is interpreted by some as arrogance. It's true that he feels proud of what he has achieved. In the whole time Block 31 has existed, not one of the pupils has died. To keep 521 children alive for months is a record that no one has probably achieved in Auschwitz. He looks forward, not at the back of the neck of the person in front of him, but much, much farther toward the row of poplars in the distance, and even farther than that toward the horizon. As the September inmates file past, a rumor that they're going to be transferred to the Hedebrick camp runs through the ranks. Most of them think there'll be a drastic selection process, and that many of them won't get there. Some think that no one of the transferees will make it. Have a good day, friends. God bless you.